Here's the situation. I needed to compare 9 items based on cost and quality, but I ran into a problem. Creating a comparison chart in my spreadsheet app wasn't as intuitive as I expected. If you're watching this, chances are you're facing the same challenge as me. Hello and welcome. Today I'll show you how to create an X versus Y comparison chart to make better data-driven decisions and tell a clear story with your data. This method works no matter what 2 factors you're comparing. In a comparison chart, these 2 factors like cost and quality are mapped to the X and Y axis. Items that score high on both axes represent the best balance between the two. My goal is to use this chart to determine which item offers the best combination of cost and quality among 9 options to decide which to buy. I'll show you 2 methods in Google Sheets and 1 in Microsoft Excel. You can find chapter timestamps in the description below. Let's dive into method 1 in Google Sheets. Okay, here we are in Google Sheets, and this is the data that I collected up here in the upper left. Couple things to note. The scoring method I used was the better the quality of the item, the higher the score, and the lower the cost of the item, the higher the cost score. Now here's why I created this video. Typically when you create a chart, you choose your data items, you select it, you say insert chart, and you get a typical chart like this. I'm going to go ahead and switch this to a scatter chart, which is what a comparison chart is. And I don't get a comparison chart between axes of quality and cost in this. Method 1, you only select the first 2 columns for your X and Y data. Insert a chart, choose the scatter chart, and go ahead into series and choose add labels. And instead of choosing what they gave you by default, I'm going to actually select a range, and that range is the item column. And that's how you create a XY comparison chart using method 1. Please click like if you're finding this helpful. So I'm doing method 1 again, a second time, having quality versus cost and cost versus quality. And I'm going to label and choose the items there. There we go. Now between these 2 charts, which tells the better story? If we look at the right chart, the one we just created, and we look at the upper right quadrant, there's 2 items in there, E and A. Yet when we look at the left chart, the upper quadrant only shows E in that column. So E is common across both charts. But A in this chart has the highest cost score because it is the cheapest item, but it also has a very low quality score. And I believe the reason why this is showing this data incorrectly is that the quality scores range from about 55 to 80, and when quality is in the x-axis, it spreads the data out. Whereas when cost was in the x-axis, it squashed the quality data down, pushing it up to the only upper half of the chart. That's not as good as the first one. So this is the chart we're going to use for giving our story, because it's really telling us we have our best quality item, which is also the most expensive item on the list. We have our cheapest item. If you look at these items here, they're the same cost, but the quality is different. Please click the like button if you're finding this helpful. Now we're going to move on to method 2. In method 2, we do select all the data. Insert chart. We get the quality versus costs comparison chart. That's not an XY comparison. And what we need to do is switch around the axis. So we know we're going to have quality be in the x-axis based on what we did in method 1. So we're going to move that to the bottom of the list temporarily and put costs there on top of the series. And we're going to add labels to costs, which will be the y-axis in your case. And it already selected item because item column was already selected as data. Next, we're going to come up to the top and x-axis, and we're going to make that quality. And then we're just going to remove quality from the bottom. Now, a couple more things we have to change this. You'll notice that on the left side, the cost versus quality is appropriate for a chart because you really want to read a chart's title from left to right, from the y-axis over to the x-axis, from here to here, and we're reading it left to right. Whereas in this case, we want to do the same thing. We're copying that, and then we're coming back over here. going to the chart title, changing that. But we're also going to go into the horizontal axis and change it to quality. And we're going to the vertical axis and changing that to cost. So now in method 2, we have the same chart we created in method 1. Now please click the like button if you find this helpful. And now we're going to move on to Excel. So here's the data we have. We're going to do what we did in method 1. We're only going to choose the 2 columns of data. I'm going to choose insert, and then I'm going to go over to the chart area and choose the scatter chart. And you notice a couple of things. It labeled it costs based on the second column. It does have quality and costs labeled out, and we need to make some adjustments to this. I'm going to choose a chart, and I'm going to go over to, we have data and format over in this right-hand side. We're going to go ahead and look at the chart title, expand that, and we're going to change that from cost to costs. Yes, versus quality. Now I'm going to go into the legend, and we're going to turn off the legend because we don't need that down there. And then horizontal axis, Excel had used the full range, and we want to change that here. So we can change the bounds in Microsoft by changing the bounds, let's say, to 50 to 90 on the horizontal axis, the x-axis. And that makes it more appropriate for visual storytelling of our chart. And then farther down, we're going to activate the axis title. And in the axis title, we're going to call that quality. And farther down, we got vertical axis. So we're going to leave that range the same. And we're going to activate the axis title and call that cost. And that's how you make an XY comparison chart in Excel. If you found this video helpful, please click the like button and share it with a friend. Welcome to Enlighten Junction Function. This channel explores the intersection of knowledge, purpose, and innovation. Please subscribe if you are curious about personal growth to make better decisions, the art of effective collaboration, emerging technologies such as AI, and media storytelling. Join us to discover, learn, and thrive. Thank you for watching.